a lot of people are in the podcast space, and I want to try to bring some clarity because I think what's holding a lot of people back is the actual gear setup, right? So, one of the things to think about, and I mentioned this on the last live that I did, was yes, get started. Don't let. I mean, you can pretty much do all of this stuff with a mobile phone, right? Um, Okay, you said you shot me a message in the area. Okay, all right, I'm gonna check you out, man. As soon as I get off this, I'll hit you back. Um, a lot of times, what happens is we let the gear get in the way, or what we think is a gear issue, we'll let that get in the way. And honestly, like I said, you can do most of the stuff with your phone. However, where we are now, social media, which is when I say social media, that's of course Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, LinkedIn, um, X, Twitter, YouTube, all of those are social media platforms, right? But it has become very competitive. And so while you can just jump on any way you can, I think if you can learn to teach yourself to show it the best way possible, you should always do that. So this evening, what we're going to do, so I don't belabor this anymore, we're going to talk specifically tonight about what I believe to be the perfect mobile audio podcast setup. Now, of course, this will work in your home office if you're stationary, but this is a perfect solution if you're somebody that's either doing audio interviews with people on the go, or you're just somebody where something comes to your mind and you want a podcast that you may not be in your home studio, right? So I think this is a pretty good solution. So there are four primary things that I want to share with you guys right now that I think if you do these, you can get started right away. The biggest piece is the recorder. Now, there are a ton of recorders out there. I will show you the one that I use because I believe it's the most versatile. And I also believe that if you use something like this, you can literally take the card out and publish your podcast without having to do any editing. All right. So, the first thing that we want to talk about this evening is your microphone. This is a Shure SM58 microphone. You guys, if you've ever been to conferences or anything like that, or any type of venue where there's an event, you see these types of microphones on stage. This is a SM48. There's also a SM58. I really love this mic. It's under $100. The sound quality is great. It's a cardioid dynamic microphone, so the sound that you're hearing now on this mic, you can actually achieve on this mic too. It's all about proximity and where you actually place the mic, right? Um, you want a mic like this. Like I said, the primary thing with this, guys, is this is an XLR mic. This isn't a mic that you would plug into your computer. Those mics would take like USB cords or something like that. This specifically is an XLR mic, and I'll show you why in a second. But this is a great mic. It's metal. It's well constructed. It's going to last you forever. It's pretty durable, although you don't want to really drop it on a capsule or anything like that. If you take this off, you can kind of see the direction where you actually would talk into the mic right here, right? So this is why you see people holding it here. They're actually talking here. This here has foam built into it, so it kind of helps you with plosives. And I have something else for that. I think I have it on my desk. Yeah, I do. But I'll show you in a second. But you want to use a mic like this. This is a Shure SM48. There are 58s out there. There are other XLR mics that you can use. But something like this, I like it because it's handheld. It's very easy to use. Now, of course, I said this is an XLR mic. You do not plug this into your computer. You plug it into an audio interface or recorder. In order to do that, you're going to need something called an XLR cable. I have this 3-foot cable, I believe, here. And you simply plug it into one end of your microphone like this, and then you plug this other connection into your audio interface. People may say, why would you do this as opposed to, say, USB? Simply because the audio quality is a lot better. I like it. That's I don't really know what to tell you. The audio quality is great with the XLR mic. All right, so what do we have? We have the microphone, and we have the XLR cable. All right. What you want to do is you want to plug that into, in this case, your audio recorder. Now, I use the Zoom H8, and it looks like this, right? I love this device. I use this in personal settings. I use it in production workflows. The biggest reason is because this device here can take up to 6 XLR inputs. So imagine you're not just doing a solo record. You actually have guests. You have 1 guest, 2 guests, 3 guests, whatever. Of course, for each guest would need a microphone and XLR cable. But you can plug those cables into here. I'm going to show you the beauty of this device in a second. You see these knobs here on the front, these 6 knobs. These are your gain controls, which are going to help you to control we'll just say the loudness or the gain coming from your microphones going into your recorder. I don't really want to make these videos too technically jargoned or whatever. God, I'm sweating a lot. But the one reason why I like this, guys, is I'm gonna cut this on really quick and I'm gonna show you. Let's see if we got some messages coming in here. Yeah. Let me see how this thing is looking. Hold on 1 second, guys. I'm sorry. Okay. Yeah, we're up. The one thing that I really like about this, guys, is I mentioned to you earlier that when you're using a device like this, I'm all for ease of use. Even if I have to pay a little bit more for it, what has hung me up in the past is I get this production going, and then all of a sudden, now I got to do all this editing. And I really believe that's something that hangs a lot of people up when it comes to podcasting. Yes, you can record, but then you have to edit, and then you have to put it into the software. And then if you want an intro and an outro, you got to figure out all of those different things. And I think to get to the end process, it hangs people up. They either stop producing, they stop producing with the frequency that they have, the frequency that they used to, and it just becomes a big mess. So if I could find a device that will help me to do everything that I could, so when I started the recording and when I stopped the recording, it was pretty much ready to publish, that's what I'm going to do. And this device does that. There are other devices that do it as well, but I want to show you guys something. Right now, you can see that this on the H8 screen, this is a touch screen, right? And it has 3 different modes. It has a field. It's called field music and podcast. So field would be if you're, I don't know, recording videos or something like that, and you're using this to capture audio. So field recording. And another thing, each one of these tracks over here, each one of these inputs for mics, it actually records onto a separate track, which is great. But there's also a setting in here called podcast. And if I hit that button, it's loading up now. I'm going to show you the beauty to this. Here on this screen, if I can get it to show you guys, you see numbers 1, 2, 3, and 4 on the screen, right? You see those numbers there. Those are sound pads. Now, what you can do with these sound pads, you can program them. The way that I use them is I put my intro on one sound pad. So the intro is when you first listen to my podcast. It's some music and me talking. Chad said, "Can I put this on screen? This dude is hilarious." It's too big, Chad. Hold on. Yeah, I can't get it all in there. He said, I'm gonna take it off. He said that's the same mic that MLK gave the "I Have a Dream" speech. Let me get back to what I was saying, man. So with these sound pads, if your podcast has an intro and it has an outro, I can actually program the intro on one sound pad. I can program the outro on another sound pad. What this allows me to do is when I start recording my podcast on here, I hit record, and from there I push one. That plays the intro to my podcast. I then start talking or interview the guest or whatever. When we're done, I hit the second sound pad, which plays the outro. Once the outro is done, and I stop recording, I literally take the SD card out of the recorder, put it in my computer, and I can take that episode and load it straight up to my podcast hosting platform. And we'll get into all of that other stuff later, about podcast platforms and stuff like that. This cuts down on so much production, and I think these are, they're still under $400, I believe. And so I understand if some people are in different places, they might not be ready to just jump out there. But guys, if you are wanting to really take your sound and your production seriously, if you're a one-man band, which means you don't have a production team or anything like that, you need to get to the money as fast as possible. I would advise you to invest in something like this. On my desk, I have a Rodecaster, which pretty much does the same thing. I'll show you guys in a different video. It's a bigger form factor, takes 4 mics, it has sound pads on it. But the biggest reason that I got that, now this one, the Rodecaster has 2, 4, 6, 8 sound pads, and you can actually do different screens, so you can have a bunch of different sounds. But it's the same thing. You can program the sound pads with the intro and outro. So when you start your recording, you play your intro, then you do your podcast episode, then you play your outro, and you stop recording, and your podcast is done. All right, so that's there. But you also have that, like I said, on this device here. This is Zoom. There's some other manufacturers out there that have some devices that are just like this, but I use Zoom products for my recorders. I use Rode mics for most of my microphones, right? There's one other thing that I want to mention to you guys. When you have a mic like this, you also want to, if you can, these are really cheap. It's a kind of it's a pop filter, right? And you put that on the capsule of the mic, and what that does is it helps you with your plosives, so your P's and different things like that, so you don't have those when you're talking. You don't have those pop sounds into your microphone. This is a really, really high overview of this, but I wanted to share this with you guys because I know that I'm connected with a lot of people that are coaches, that are ministers, that are just business owners that have a message that they want to get out there. And yeah, I just wanted to make sure that we got this information to you guys. Also, feel free to DM me. I mentioned this in the last podcast episode, that I do have a free lighting guide that'll show you my 5 top lighting guides, like diagrams, like how I set my lights to achieve certain looks that I have. So if you're interested in that, like I said, it's free. Just hit me on DM. Right now we're pushing this to Facebook and Instagram, but you can message me either platform, and I'll get that guide over to you guys so you can check it out. I think it's really cool. A lot of you guys, when it comes down to your brand identity and really trying to dial things in, a lot of it is your message, one, but it's your look. It's getting people to see you and actually recognize you for how you present yourself. So and lighting is key. Guys, I'll say this is a little bit off topic. Even if you have a camera that you don't really feel is high end enough or something like that, if you put enough light into that camera, you can get great images out of it. That's the main reason why when you go outside and you take pictures with your cell phone or whatever, the images always look great. But then when you come inside, sometimes they look great and sometimes they look pixelated and stuff like that. The high-end phones that they say have these great cameras and all that, they really perform well in low light. So with this lighting diagram, my top 5 lighting diagrams, I just kind of show you how I position my lights to achieve certain looks. Like I said, it's free, so just message me and I'll get that over to you guys as soon as possible. If you guys have any questions, I don't see any questions right here right now, but if you guys have any questions, definitely feel free to hit me up and I'll get you some answers so we can definitely help you guys level up your media. All right, I'll check in with you guys in the next one. Take care.